morning, everyone. So today I've done a 10 a.m. class. I know I need to start settling into like a regular time slot if you guys want to meet me on Zoom. I'm going to pick up where I left off last week, which is a video I still have to post. And I'm going to do foam roller and a belt. So this is a yoga strap, what a belt do. Ideally one that you can kind of loop your foot into is good, but doesn't matter. You can probably make it work anyway. And I've also got bolsters and blocks and stuff like that, just to make sure that like whatever I decide to do, I can pad if I need to. So it's worth setting yourself up with that. I was away relaxing and surfing a bit, and so I actually feel like today is all about the lateral side bend and the legs. So I'm going to kind of do a couple of things surrounding that. I don't have a lot of time. I've got about half an hour before I've got a dash. So this, hopefully I can keep to a short one, just 30 minutes. So we'll see how I go at actually sticking to time for a change. I do get lost down the yoga hole. The main thing today I really wanted to show was how useful a foam roller, which if you don't own one, like in New Zealand, a Trade Me Hunt, Rebel Sport's probably the expensive way to go, but easy. Even maybe the Warehouse sometimes has them. This is just a polystyrene one. And this one's been really good. A friend of mine got this from Amazon for me. But I have another one which is a higher density foam, and I find they last longer, especially if you weigh a bit more. I'm not that heavy, you know, so I tend not to crush them in the middle as much as some people do. But yeah, we're going to look at foam rolling and then the stretches that I like to put with the foam rolling, and then probably some lateral side bending, just a brief one, before I have to run, knowing that I'm going to run out of time having said all that. So that said, let's crack on with it. I'm just wondering, I'm playing with lighting here. I'm wondering if that lighting's going to be better up there. I don't know. Anyway, let's go. So, record. I'm just going to tilt that screen to where I'm going to be. You can see all my kit in the background there. And I'm going to start with the foam rolling. Where's an interesting one, which way to start? I'm actually going to start in a thigh and then move to ITB bands. And people often ask me, like, how much foam rolling is enough? I've known people to do like 10 minutes of foam rolling on one area. I would say that's excessive. I've got better things to do than 10 minutes of foam rolling on one piece of thigh. But it probably does take, and this probably is going to take me 10 minutes to get through all the bits. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to foam roll this area. And you'll see, like, I've basically, like, straddled the roller, essentially, put my knee over it, and then I'm rolling, like, VMO and up in the adductors and stuff like that. And I'm rolling right up to my crotch so that I can get right at the top of that insertion of the muscle. And then I bring it back. Wherever I find something that's interesting, I'm pausing, maybe a little wriggle, maybe not, maybe just hold and try to relax around it. One of the things that drives me nuts about watching people foam roll in the gym is that for some reason they think it's a race. And it's really, I really don't see how you can, and I've experimented a little bit myself, how you can get the benefit of foam rolling by doing it at 100 miles an hour. This is essentially massage or self-massage, and I'm doing soft tissue release before I do my stretching, because actually that's what rehabilitation suggests is the best method. Soft tissue release, stretch, and then strengthen any areas that might be weak would be the rule for rehab. So stands to reason that soft tissue release followed by stretching makes sense too. Also because we're getting blood into the area, but also because I get to release or remind the body where the blood needs to go by leaning onto those tighter points. So what was I going to say? I've changed sides. I took like almost 2 minutes on that other inside thigh, and partly that's because of what I'm finding. If I don't find much, I'll move on fairly quickly, but my inner thighs do a bit of work, so especially with ballet, jumping, and surfing. I'm just gonna roll. Probably the inner thigh is my favorite area. The external thigh is a bit more painful. I'm finding more on this side than the other side, actually. Sometimes, like, also you'll notice, like, I'm almost rolling, maybe you can't see that. I'm rolling slightly onto the top of my thigh there. And that's, I put this, that's because I can feel something there and I'm kind of following my nose a little bit. Yeah, the Speedy Gonzalez roller. I just don't see how your muscles don't tense up with that. You'd still get blood flush though. You'd still get like extra circulation into the area from doing that. But I'm not getting the soft tissue release. I'm getting probably the opposite effect. Tension. Which of course in what we're doing is not what we're up to. So in between each area that I roll, I'm going to stretch. So you can, if you don't have a foam roller, do self-massage. So you can sit here and strip up and down in these areas. So this is a nice way to go. And you can also do this on the lateral thigh as well. And this I would do a bit quicker, unless you're a masseuse and you want to use your own techniques here. Getting into your own sort of self-massage techniques on your inner thighs or body is a great way to get in touch with your body. So from here, I'm going to go for a frog. This one I'm going to do with my feet together. So those of you so my feet are together, not out, like the classic. And this one, I'm going to walk my hips forward. So from here, I bring my hips all the way down to the deck. And you want to keep walking until the hips hit the ground. Some people may need to use a block here. Now, if I don't want to work too hard, and I have to say this morning, I don't feel like working too hard, I might just hang out here. I am going to hang out here for at least 2 minutes to let this open. And while I'm here, I'm going to play with my abdominals. And I am going to do a little bit of shoulder work just because I can't help myself. So you see my feet are together, but they're quite relaxed and they're heading towards the floor. If you've got a bit more of a twist happening through your legs, you're going to find your legs sitting up more. From here, I go abs on, pull the pelvis into the ground, but make sure my glute max, so the big boys, are off. And then I'm actually going to push my pelvis into the ground with my arms a little bit as well. And this sort of constantly trying to get the pelvis down into the ground without using your glutes is your aim here. From here, and because I'm quite tight today, I'm going to go for quite a shallow back bend. So I'm going to spread my palms out in front of me, bring my elbows in line, and pull my shoulders down my back just a touch. Oh, that's a lot today. And I'm using that again to help press my pelvis into the ground. A lot of people, because I often come right up here or even higher up, today my back doesn't want to do it, a lot of people try to copy me. And it's very important to remember that yoga is not about making a shape. The shape is an ideal that gives you some indication of where you're going, but it doesn't really mean much to the individual user if they can't get into it. So you have to adjust your postures to suit you so that they work. Right now I'm getting a massive inner thigh stretch. That's the most important thing. And as I put some back bend into this, I'm starting to get a little bit of back compression, which is regenerative to that area. And because it is so tight, tomorrow I'm going to do more work with it just to get my back bend doing more what I want. Good for my surfing, good for my kidneys. And I'm pulling my shoulders away from my ears, pulling my abs in. And I'm going to bring that down. Relax it for 20 seconds here. Ooh, there is a lot going on in those legs today. Then I'm going to release the legs out. And I'm going to push all the way back to child. Oh, you might need to wriggle your hips together a little bit first before you do that. I'm going to reach forward. Drawing my hands in under my shoulders. I'm going to drag my head and shoulders up. And I'm going to go back to my roller. So again, you might want to do this self-massage wise. If you're going to do this self-massage, I would sit something like this, so kind of in a side saddle pose. And now what you want to do is you want to head, if you look at like the top of your leg, that's the midline of your quad. And then there's sort of the lateral line. That's the line I want to massage. So I'm going to get into there with my knuckles if I'm doing it with my hand, and get as much heat going as you can with your hand. With the roller, of course, it's a slightly different idea. I'm looking more so with this to trigger point things. So I'm going to... So this is a shorter roller. A shorter roller is handy because... Oh, Thomas left there. Because... I don't have to worry so much about my positioning on the roller, but I recommend you go towards the edge of your roller so you've got room to put your foot wherever you need to in order to roll. Now, if you look at the top there, I am slightly face downwards so that I'm in that section of the quad that I pointed out just earlier. And now I'm going to roll slowly. Now, in this case, we're going to do quad to ITB sort of connection, and then we're going to do the back of the leg to the ITB connection, so hamstring to ITB connection. So we're looking for these two connectors essentially going into that big band of white tissue that runs down the side of your leg. Now, my reason for doing that is a lot of people just roll the white tissue, and there's lots of arguments against doing this. And two of the arguments that I think are interesting, that they're still arguing about from what I understand, is one, if I roll the ITB directly, I may run over a piece of fatty tissue that's underneath that ITB band. That's essential that you don't want to damage, and I might cause damage to it. So I don't want to do that. The other thing that I want to consider is it's white tissue. So getting a lot of blood flow into white tissue is quite hard. But where I am right now, I have the combination of being on the edge of that white tissue, so still attempting to get some, but also getting blood flow into the red tissue. And that's much easier because it's red tissue. So where it's red, there's more oxygen, right? That's why it's red. The other argument is as well, what are you trying to lengthen with the ITB? Essentially, there's a lot of attachment to bone, to all sorts of things going on in that ITB band. So trying to get length out of it is almost a little bit futile. You could get length out of the muscle embedded in it that acts like a tightener, but that's where I am now roughly. Like that's up there, TFL, tense fascial artery. So why would I roll the ITB band? And is that safe? Maybe it's not safe, and maybe it doesn't serve me anyway. Maybe I'm not getting value for my time. So I'm going to go straight over to this side. I'm not going to do the hamstring just yet. So I want to turn downwards and roll. So nice to have a rolling session. Again, if you're massaging, switching to massaging the other side. And I am looking for what I can find. You are probably going to find that this is touch painful. Not as much on this side. So in both cases, I'm finding, a little bit more in TFL though. So I've gone right up the top there. I always roll until I can't find anything more in my leg or until I'm not in my leg anymore, right? I've lifted that leg up. Also, if I wanted more weight, I could stack the legs on top of each other. But in most cases, you don't, because again, you're looking to relax that thigh as you roll it. Oh, that's fun. Oh. I just found something nice at the end there, so I took my time. So from here, because I've gone quad to ITB, I'm going to go for a nice basic lunge. So if I start from my toe sitting position, and I'm going to go, just because of that area, I think Twisting Dragon is going to suit us best. And you know I love a good Twisting Dragon. So I'm going to step forward, lean into that, and then slide that foot back. I want to roll through the foot, open it up. I notice there's an interesting tension on one side of my Achilles there. So that's something I'm going to work with later before I go running and jumping and doing anything that might annoy it anymore or jeopardize it anymore. And from here, I'm going to flare this left foot that's in front, and I'm going to do a rotation to stretch that lateral side. And I'm actually going to hang out in it. But for a lot of people, this is quite a difficult position because I want to keep the back knee straight, I want to keep the back foot flexed, and I want to roll to the side edge of it to get the best out of it. And for some people, the tension is so intense here that staying in it, if you can get to here, is not necessarily recommended. So you might want to play with just turning through this and keeping it moving, which I think is actually quite a nice way to ask your body to start to make room for this position. And then I'm going to bring that back. Just going to slide that out a little bit, this time dropping the foot. So now I'm more square. I'm going to drop straight down into my low flying dragon. You don't need to though, you can stay up in a higher version of this. And I would recommend you just pull your abs into your spine, let everything else relax. From here, I'm going to push up into my high flying dragon, dig my back toe in, push that knee out as straight as I can, and step back into child. Not child, I'm talking about down dog. So back into down dog. And then I'm going to step forward onto the other side, up past that little right finger there, flaring that foot, and I'm keeping that back knee off the ground because I'm going to go for that twist first. Remember, for those of you that find it difficult to do this position, go with the movement. Try and work it open with a good 10 reps or so. I'm going to just rotate, keeping that foot nice and flexed, pushing through that straight knee, and keeping myself up nice and high. I'm being very relaxed about this, okay? And I can be fussier. I can get you to push the shoulder down. I can get you to like start wrapping arms and make it really pretty. I can get you to worry about what the chest is doing. But for me, plenty is happening right now. And so this is what I'm going to stick with. Love a good lateral side bend. Just gold for your back, this kind of stuff. Then I bring my hand back around to the middle, rotate that leg, drop the knee, drop the foot, all the way down into my low flying. You can also hug this knee in. Mine is skating out a bit more than I usually like today, so I also like to hug in underneath. But again, it really depends what works for you. Coming back up into your high flying, tucking the back toe in, straightening the leg, pushing back into down dog. And just giving it a bit of a wiggle. Really not liking what's happening in that right Achilles. That makes me upset. And I'm going to bring it down all the way back into child. Just give it a wriggle around. Pulling my hands in underneath and dragging my head and shoulders up. I am going to keep an eye on the time today. Ooh, I still have time. Good. Hamstring to ITB. So, doink. I'm looking for this line. I'm going to do that way because I think the light is better. This line here. So I went, like if I was looking at the top of my quad, I went to the lateral side and rolled there for that one we did before. Now if I'm looking for that massage, and that's where these kind of like shapes with the leg are really handy, I'm looking to get in there now. And again, nothing wrong with using your hands over using the roller. So from here, in order to really get into this, for me, I love to roll this. And I want to point out like this trouble area that women love to like have a war with. Rolling this is great. And it's a little bit more spicy. So you'll know when you hit it. It can be quite a boggy area. Well, it can be for me anyway. So in order to get on this in the right shape, I need to put my hamstring on it. And then I need to turn, in this case, slightly towards you guys. So I'm going to put both hands here and turn myself that way. But my quad is completely off and relaxed, ideally. And then I am somewhere there. What I do with my leg kind of depends on my body type, what I can get away with. See, I'm not finding much there, but as I get towards that area I was pointing out before, well, now I start to find something, and that's quite fun. I never remember to turn off my email when I start recording, and then it insists on pinging all the way through. Also, since COVID lockdown and Erin's shopping mission, I have way too many rubbish emails coming in all the time. I'm going to keep rolling that. And this, if I don't, like I've got therapy balls, which I looked at last week. If I don't have a therapy ball, or I find something kind of nice just rolling up sort of into my glute, I'm going to do that too, because why not? So yeah, totally an option. Am I looking for it to stop hurting? That was a question someone asked me in the week. Am I looking for it to stop hurting? Not today, no. Ideally, yeah, you want to come to your body and find that it's all tuned in and nothing hurts and nothing's uncomfortable. But everything's going to have some sort of, I've changed sides, by the way. Everything's going to have some sort of, you put pressure on it, it's going to feel it. And if I find a nice tender area and I keep working into it, it's not going to get pain-free in that session. It might loosen up. So it might become less tender. It might also become more tender the more you roll into it. For me, this area I'm on right now, it's just getting more and more sore the more I go into it. And so I'm going to roll back and forward until I can't really hack it anymore. And then I'm going to jump off and go into a pigeon or a 90-90 stretch. I'm also hoping, see again, tight on this leg, and that's the Achilles that I'm getting a weird tension in today, and I never have problems with my Achilles, so that's interesting. But extra tension, always in the, all on the right side today. And so I'm hoping that some of this rolling will help release the tissues into my ankle and Achilles as well. All right, so just roll up and check all of that. Now I'm really cheating. Into glute med and min at the back. Come out of that. All right, so from here, I'm literally throwing my roller away now because I don't need it anymore. You could do calves, could do hamstrings, but these are sort of the three main areas I go for. Sometimes I also go direct onto the quads, like face down on it. And I like to do little turns to get into different parts of the quads. But yeah, otherwise, that's pretty much it. And also, this wee Tom is sleeping today. Hello, man. And I'm almost on time. So, yoga mat, he's going to stay. So you could go for 90-90 here. That's going to be our stretch. We're going to pair with that back of hamstring stretch. And I think 90-90 is a good way to go. Look, my little movie star. I know you want attention, but can I finish doing this first? Is that okay? Thank you. So 90-90, front foot lines up with back shin. And from here, I want to sit up nice and tall and lean forward. As I lean forward, you're going to feel it sort of run up, not on the back leg, but on the front leg, run up that area there. So just in and under there where we've been rolling. And then into your butt, probably. I want to try and keep my rib cage on the inside. So I always teach this one. You don't want to be spilling out over outside of the thigh. You want to bring it in and roll it forward. I never managed to catch him on video, and here he is. Thomas the Burman. Hey, hey. Then I also want to consider squaring my shoulders to the ground. And I find that intensifies the stretch into my butt and the side of the leg. In fact, now it's taking it into the adductor as well. A lot of people find these types of twisted leg stretches very challenging. And what I always say to people is, if today you found your nemesis, you make it your best friend. You're going to practice that move until you love it, because that is where you're going to have a breakthrough with your body. And walking it up, changing sides. Another question I get asked is, should I get massage? So changing to my other side, I'm going to sit up nice and tall, tucking my ribs inside that line. Back shin lines up with the sole of the foot on the front leg, and I'm going to lean that forward. And you'll notice as I go into this, I'm taking time in certain points just to let it open. I can put myself fully on the floor, but the body's tight today, so it's not quite there yet. I'm just going to give it the few minutes to get fully into that posture under the close watch of Thomas de Vernon. What was I going to say? Should I get massage? I do body work on people, and I still recommend that they go see other practitioners. Anyone who's good at what they do has something to offer. Massage in and of itself is a very, someone wants attention, is a very, very beneficial flush and strip back of the tissues. It's not something I do a lot of in my sessions because I'm doing more corrective corrective techniques along an osteopathic line. I'm also using Thai techniques, and they don't have that same Swedishy kind of flushing and stimulation of blood flow in the same way. They work more compression, and all of those techniques are good. So yeah, go get massage. It's not a luxury, it's essential. I wanted to use my belt today, and I'm going to run out of time, as per usual. So belt next week. And slowly coming up. So we've actually done a lot of stuff that's quite lateral today in a hidden way. I wanted to do a big straddle side bend. Go either side of Thomas there. So I'm gonna put my legs out sort of as wide as they go and then lift my butt out the back just to give myself a bit of room. From here, I'm gonna hook my pelvis by pulling my abdominals in. And I'm literally going for the lateral side stretch. And Erin, of course, is pushing time to 35 minutes. I'm going to take this arm up nice and high, deep breath in. As I reach over, I'm going to reach. So in this case, I'm reaching my left arm across and my right arm over. And I'm going to keep this arm nice and active. If you want, you can grab that foot and start to twist and reach through. You're trying to rotate your rib cage up. He's sick of me now. I'm not paying him enough attention. Over the top, rotate up and over. And this is a bit more And the way I'm doing it a bit more active, so I'm not going to hold it for too long, but I can hang out here for longer and just relax my arm. But because I'm putting that twist on it, and then I'm going to turn face the leg and just fold down. A little bit of extra hamstring stuff there because we haven't done a full hamstring stretch. And then I'm going to walk it through the middle just for fun. Lift it up in the center. And I'm going to go, now the cat's gone. I'm going to reach up with the other hand, reach up nice and high, tuck my pelvis in, using my abs only, not my glutes. This should be nice and relaxed back here. I'm going to take a breath in. As I breathe out, I'm going to reach that right hand across and left hand over top, down for the foot if it's there for you, and then pulling that chest through and rotating it up. And because this is slower stretching, I'm doing nose breathing only, and that's something to note for your practice. What kind of breathing is appropriate? I'm looking to de-stress my body, and nose breathing sends signals to the parasympathetic nervous system to recover and to rest and to de-stress. I'm going to turn now and face over the leg into that hamstring kind of stretch. And I work it back to the center. Very amused because I think they can hear Thomas just behind the curtain. There he is. Back to the center. And then working it slowly up. You can of course hold that last middle stretch for longer if you like, but everyone's got to run. So thank you very much. That was just a quick idea. I did not get to the belt, so I'm going to use the belt next week. That will be my next week challenge. Buy a foam roller. Honestly, I think they're well worth it. I actually have ended up with 2 in my house, and I love to give them as I think it's a great gift for the sporting human or for any human, but you might want to teach them how to use it. It's super handy for people who sit at desks to help relieve their low back. All of the stuff we did today would be useful for low back stuff, so that's also worth noting. But also, just in general, to feel better walking around and to get better gait, all of this stuff is essential. Anyway, thank you very much. Hope you have a great day. Feel free to do more yoga since you're already here, and I'm going to run off and teach some people how to do some abs.